What do you call talent? A man who has a beautiful voice. A man who paints. A good football player. What is talent? Talent is an action taken by a human being, recognized as a creative action. A person can paint better than another, and another one can learn to paint better than the first, although he hasn't shown such skills before. Then, if this condition called talent can be learned, talent represents only the skill level. A person can paint very beautiful, another can sing extraordinary, and another one can dance phenomenal. But to define the painting as being beautiful, the voice as being melodic, and the dance as being rhythmic, you must relate to something, and this something is the culture, the environment in which you were born. Let's analyze this well-known painting, Mona Lisa. For many, it's a greatness, an art, something magnificent, splendor and value. But why? The painting itself, it seems too extraordinarily. The year when it was made. Its significance. The author. What gives value to this painting? If you have not heard about this painting, and you have seen it for the first time, as an image on your computer, which would have been your opinion, without the environment or cultural influence? Think. The same with the voice. A deaf man would not appreciate this talent not knowing the effect. He wouldn't see it as you see. The same with a dog that may be disturbed by those sounds, because he has a softer hearing. Talent is defined by culture and represents a level of skill, and the skill that creates the talent, it's subjective.
Well, people have a name for things. If they see a child draw pretty pictures right away, they think the child is gifted. Because that means I haven't the slightest idea how a 6-year-old can draw a profile of a human being that looks so accurate. That's what they're saying when they say he's gifted. I have no idea of how that occurs. When a fish migrates thousands of miles to the spawning grounds, without mother fish opening up a map of the world, showing the fish how to get to the spawning grounds, they invented a word for that, instinct. It means I haven't the slightest idea of how these fish do that. Instinct is a dead word. Noise tells us nothing. But a word that says, I'm going to try to find out how it is that fish can do that. So they study the magnetic currents under the Gulf Stream, which the fish follow. Once you begin to know that birds can follow Earth's magnetic currents, because if you strap a small magnet to a bird's head, he doesn't migrate, becomes confused. So it was called years ago a mechanistic point of view, and people hated that word. Mechanistic? I'm not a machine. I'm flesh and blood. I'm a thinking, feeling. They love that, and they moved away from the mechanistic point of view, which hurt society no end. It's a mechanistic point of view. All that it says is, look, you can't roll your eyes to the right unless there's a muscle and the nerve cells that feed that muscle. You can't twist your arm unless muscles run in that direction. That's all that a mechanistic point of view stated, that nothing occurs. The mechanist also stated this, that nothing is self-activating. That's the most difficult thing for people to grasp. Trying to simplify that, a sailboat cannot sail. It is moved by the wind. A plant cannot grow. All that's nonsense. Still exists today. A plant requires warmth, temperature, moisture, gravity. All of those things are, although you don't see the connection, they're all connected. That living beings do not acquire knowledge or information through ethereal means. They acquire it by banging their head against a wall, slipping on ice, then they design anti-slip systems. First you have to slip on the ice. No government, to my knowledge, ever anticipated the future and said, this is the direction we're headed in, let's prepare for social change. No, they try to keep things as they are.
Everybody can be an artist, Leonardo da Vinci. It's not an inborn gift. This is a myth perpetuated by people who don't understand what it is to be creative. They don't understand the conditioning or the type of experience that makes a creative person. Creativity is nothing more than taking known elements and putting them together in unique ways. Look at all your stories, your writing, your books. They're all the same story, different characters. All your television soap operas are always the same story put together in little different patterns. They're not that original. And even though you hear of a guy like Leonardo da Vinci, you think, my God, he was ahead of his time. No, he wasn't. The people he associated with talked of gears and levers. You don't have that in your school book. That's what's missing. They think that Leonardo da Vinci came up with all the ideas himself. That's not true. The people he associated with talked about different things. The kind of friends he had were different than normal people. Normal means screwed up by their society.
I wish I brought some of that with me, some of the memory medals. But how did a man think of it? He didn't. There was a Swede that mixed different metals together. He was just trying to make metals stronger. And he used titanium and nickel. It's called nickel into titanium. And he bent it to see how strong it was, like the letter U. And he put it on a table near a heat lamp. And when he came back, it was straight again. In France, a guy made a wing 3 feet long and strapped it on his back. And he climbed up the top of the Eiffel Tower, and he jumped off, and he died. And his brother-in-law wrote, "Make wings larger next time." Where do you think it comes from? Nobody can know how to build an airplane right away. Edison said he went through 7,000 different things before he could get a filament for the lamp. Nobody really invented anything. It was all discovery.